Captain Han Wu stood on the observation deck of the New Seoul Defense Station, watching the morning sun rise over the endless green fields below. The planet looked peaceful from orbit. Farmers were already working in the rice paddies that stretched to the horizon. Children walked to school along dirt roads between small villages. This was humanity's most successful colony, home to over 2 million people who had built a new life among the stars. Han Wu smiled as he sipped his coffee. His sister Lee Nari was probably getting her students ready for their morning lessons, down in Riverside Town. She taught 3rd grade and always sent him pictures of her kids' drawings. Last week they had drawn spaceships and aliens, imagining what other worlds might look like. "Captain, we have something strange on the long-range sensors," Lieutenant Park Jun called from the communication station. His voice sounded worried. Han Wu walked over to look at the display. Dark shapes were moving at the edge of the solar system, too big to be asteroids and too fast to be normal ships. "How many contacts?" "At least 300, sir. Maybe more. They're not responding to our signals." Dr. Kim Yuna looked up from her medical reports. She worked as the colony's chief medical officer, but also helped coordinate supply ships and civilian traffic. "Are they human ships? Maybe Earth sent a surprise convoy?" Park Jun shook his head. "The ships are too big, Doctor, much bigger than anything we've ever built, and they're not using human communication frequencies." Han Wu felt ice form in his stomach. For 60 years, humans had been spreading across the galaxy, building colonies on empty worlds. They had never met another intelligent species. Every planet they found was either empty or had only simple life forms like plants and animals. Scientists always said they would meet aliens someday, but that day had always seemed far away. "Send a message to Earth immediately," Han Wu ordered. "Tell them we have unknown contacts approaching New Seoul, then get me a channel to all ships in the system." The unknown fleet moved closer. Through the telescopes, Han Wu could see massive vessels, shaped like smooth black daggers. They moved in perfect formation, silent and threatening. Some were 10 kilometers long, bigger than Earth's largest space stations. "This is Captain Han Wu of New Seoul Defense Command to all ships in the system," he broadcast. "We have unknown vessels approaching. All civilian ships should immediately begin emergency evacuation procedures. All defense ships should move to protect the evacuation routes." New Seoul had only 12 defense ships, small patrol boats meant to watch for pirates or accidents. Against the approaching fleet, they would be like flies attacking eagles. Dr. Kim Yuna ran to her station and began calling hospitals and schools on the planet's surface. "Emergency evacuation," she said into her communicator. "All ships capable of carrying passengers should report to the nearest spaceport immediately." This is not a drill. The alien fleet suddenly changed course, spreading out to surround the planet. Han Wu realized they were cutting off escape routes. His hands shook as he tried to think of options. Earth was 40 light-years away. Even if a message had been sent, help would not come for months. "Captain, I'm receiving a transmission," Park Jun said. "It's coming from the lead alien ship." "Put it on the main screen." The face that appeared was like nothing from Earth's imagination. The creature had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern around a mouth full of sharp teeth. Its skin looked like gray metal, and strange symbols glowed along its forehead. "Humans of New Seoul," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Admiral Vextar of the Hegemony Council. Your species has expanded beyond acceptable limits. You will cease all colonization activities and return to your home system immediately." Han Wu stepped forward. "Admiral Vextar, I am Captain Han Wu. We are peaceful colonists. We have not attacked anyone or claimed any worlds that belong to others. We can discuss this situation and find a solution that works for everyone." The alien's 4 eyes focused on him with cold intelligence. "There is no discussion. You have been warned. Compliance is required within 1 standard hour. And if we refuse, then you will be removed." The transmission ended. Han Wu stared at the empty screen, his mind racing. 1 hour to evacuate 2 million people was impossible. The biggest cargo ships could only carry a few thousand passengers each, and there were not enough ships in the system. Dr. Kim Yuna was already coordinating with the planet's surface. Emergency sirens wailed in every city and town. People ran toward spaceports carrying whatever they could grab. Families pushed crying children into overcrowded shuttle buses. The lucky ones lived near the big cities where the large cargo ships landed. People in small farming villages would have to drive for hours to reach safety. "Sir, the alien ships are moving into attack position," Park Jun reported. "They're targeting our cities and industrial areas." Han Wu opened a channel to his sister's school. Li Nari's face appeared on the screen, surrounded by frightened children. "Brother, what's happening? Everyone is saying we have to leave right now." "Listen to me carefully," Han Wu said, fighting to keep his voice calm. "Take the children to the emergency shelter under the school. Stay there until a ship comes to get you. Do not try to drive to the spaceport. The roads are too crowded. But what about just do what I say? I love you." He cut the transmission before she could see the tears in his eyes. The hour passed too quickly. Only about 100,000 people had made it onto ships when the alien fleet opened fire. Beams of energy fell from the sky like rain, turning buildings into flames and melting roads into glass. The attacks were precise and methodical. The aliens destroyed power plants, communication centers, and transportation hubs first. Han Wu watched in horror as Riverside Town disappeared in a ball of fire. The school where his sister taught, the houses where families had lived for generations, the parks where children played, all gone in seconds. "Sir, we have to go," Dr. Kim Yuna said, pulling at his arm. "The last evacuation ship is ready to depart." The defense station shook as alien weapons targeted it. Emergency lights flashed red as hull breaches opened to space. Han Wu looked one last time at the planet where his sister had died, where 2 million innocent people had been murdered for the crime of building farms and schools. "All stations, this is Captain Han Wu," he broadcast on all frequencies. "New Sol is lost. We are withdrawing to Earth with video evidence of what happened here. Tell them what the aliens did. Tell them we will remember." The few surviving ships jumped to hyperspace carrying 847 refugees back toward Earth. Behind them, New Sol burned. The aliens had made their point clear. Humanity was no longer welcome among the stars, but they had also made a terrible mistake. They had just shown Earth what they were capable of, and humans had very long memories when it came to injustice. The refugee ships arrived at Earth 3 weeks after New Sol burned. Captain Han Wu stood in the medical bay of the rescue station, watching Dr. Kim Yuna treat survivors who had lost everything. Some had burns from the energy weapons. Others just stared at the walls, their minds broken by what they had seen. News of the massacre spread across Earth faster than wildfire. Every television channel showed the same terrible images: cities melting under alien fire, families running for their lives, children crying for parents who would never come home. The footage Park Jun had transmitted in New Sol's final moments played over and over again, burning itself into the memory of every human alive. President Kang Sora called an emergency session of the World Council. Representatives from every nation on Earth gathered in the Great Assembly Hall in Geneva. Outside, 2 million people held candlelight vigils for the dead of New Sol. They filled the streets of every major city, holding pictures of the victims and demanding justice. "The Hegemony Council has sent us a message," President Kang Sora announced to the assembly. Her voice was steady, but her hand shook as she held the communication device. "They demand that all human colonies be abandoned immediately. We have 30 days to withdraw from every world beyond the Sol system, or they will destroy Earth itself." The hall erupted in angry voices. Some representatives demanded immediate negotiations. Others called for surrender to save Earth's population. A few brave souls stood up and shouted for war, even though everyone knew it was impossible. Admiral Choi Minho rose from his seat in the military section. He was 70 years old, a veteran of the corporate wars who had spent his life building Earth's Space Defense Force. His uniform carried the scars of a dozen battles, but he had never faced anything like this. "Mr. President, fellow representatives," he said in a voice that commanded attention, "we have analyzed the alien fleet capabilities based on the New Sol recordings. The hegemony controls approximately 40,000 star systems. Their combined military forces include over 200,000 major warships, each more advanced than our best technology. He paused to let the numbers sink in. Earth's entire space fleet consisted of 2,847 ships, mostly converted civilian vessels with basic weapons. However, Admiral Choi continued, I believe we have options they do not expect. Captain Bei Jin stood up in the audience. He had been Han Wu's best friend at the Naval Academy, and his wife had been visiting New Seoul when the attack happened. His face was hollow with grief, but his eyes burned with determination. Admiral, my wife died on New Seoul along with 2 million other innocent people. What options do we have against an enemy that can destroy planets? Admiral Choi activated a holographic display that showed Earth's industrial capacity. Captain, Bei, the hegemony makes the same mistake that Earth's enemies have always made. They assume we will fight like they do, with large, expensive ships and traditional tactics. But humans have always won wars through numbers, determination, and innovation. The hologram changed to show shipyard designs and production statistics. Dr. Lim Hyun has been working on Project Moonrise for the past 5 years. Automated shipyards that can build vessels faster than any biological species can imagine. What if we don't try to match their advanced technology? What if we simply build more ships than they can possibly handle? Dr. Lim Hyun stood up from the science section. She was young for such an important position, only 35, but her work on industrial automation had revolutionized Earth's manufacturing. Admiral Choi is correct. We can modify the Project Moonrise designs to build warships instead of cargo vessels. The production rate would be approximately 850 ships per day once all facilities are operational. The assembly fell silent. Representative Kim Dae from the Asian Federation did quick math in his head. Dr. Lim, are you saying we could build 300,000 ships in 1 year? Actually, we could build 500,000 ships in 18 months if we convert every industrial facility on Earth and in the asteroid belt to military production. The ships would be smaller than traditional battleships, but they would be faster, cheaper, and designed to work together like a pack of wolves. President Kang Sora looked around the assembly hall. The anger and fear in people's faces was changing into something else, hope mixed with grim determination. What would this mean for Earth's civilian population? She asked. Admiral Choi answered honestly. Every resource would go to ship production. Every factory, every worker, every piece of raw material. Food would be rationed. Luxury goods would disappear. People would work longer hours than ever before. But in 18 months, we would have the largest fleet in galactic history. Captain Bei Jin spoke again. Admiral, even if we build 500,000 ships, can we actually fight an enemy with superior technology? Captain, superior technology means nothing if you cannot bring it to bear effectively. The hegemony builds massive ships because they can afford to lose them in traditional battles between small fleets. They have never faced an enemy that could field 500,000 vessels simultaneously. Dr. Lim Hyun brought up new holographic displays showing ship designs. The new Dreadnoughts would be 300 meters long, heavily armed, but relatively inexpensive to build. More importantly, they would be controlled by advanced AI systems that allow unprecedented coordination. Instead of individual ship captains making decisions, entire fleets of 10,000 ships could operate as a single tactical unit. The World Council voted that night. The decision was not even close. 197 nations voted for war production. Only 3 voted for surrender negotiations. President Kang Sora signed the mobilization order at midnight. As of this moment, Earth is at war. Every citizen, every resource, every piece of technology will be focused on building the fleet that will carry justice to New Seoul's murderers. Within hours, the transformation began. Car factories stopped making vehicles and started building ship components. Food processing plants were converted to manufacture armor plating. Universities closed their liberal arts programs and focused every student on engineering and ship construction. The Luna shipyards, previously used for building cargo vessels and space stations, expanded to cover the entire surface of the moon. Asteroid mining operations multiplied by a factor of 100. Mars became a massive weapons testing facility, where new ship designs could be evaluated in isolation. Captain Han Wu was promoted to admiral and given command of the First Revenge Fleet. His job was to plan the tactics that would turn 500,000 small ships into an unstoppable force. "Admiral," Captain Beijin asked during a planning session, "what do we do if the hegemony attacks Earth before we finish building the fleet?" Han Wu looked at the holographic display showing Earth's orbital defenses. They had been strengthened, but they could not stop a fleet like the one that destroyed New Seoul. "Then we fight with whatever ships we have ready, and make them pay for every meter of space," he said. "But I don't think they will attack yet. The hegemony has ruled the galaxy for thousands of years by making examples of defiant species. They think the threat of destroying Earth will make us surrender." "Will it?" Han Wu thought about his sister, Li Nari, about the children in her classroom, about 2 million people who had died for the crime of building farms on an empty world. "Captain, the hegemony made a simple mistake. They think fear will control us. But they have never met a species that turns grief into industrial production. They killed our civilians to teach us a lesson. Instead, they taught us that negotiation is impossible, and overwhelming force is the only language they understand." Outside the planning room windows, the lights of construction never stopped. Shift workers labored around the clock, building the ships that would carry humanity's answer to the stars. The message was simple: touch one of ours, face all of us. The hegemony had burned New Seoul to show their power. Earth would build 500,000 dreadnoughts to show them what human power really looked like. Engineer Yoon Dae had not slept more than 4 hours at a time in 6 months. His eyes were red with exhaustion as he walked through the Luna shipyards at 300 hours, checking production reports on his tablet. Around him, the construction never stopped. Millions of workers labored in 3 shifts that ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The moon's surface had been completely transformed. Where once there had been small research stations and mining operations, now massive industrial complexes stretched from horizon to horizon. Assembly lines kilometers long turned raw materials into starship components with mechanical precision. The automated systems Dr. Lim Hyun had designed worked faster than any human crew could manage. "Production report, sir," called worker Ko Min from the assembly platform. She supervised a team of 500 people who installed weapon systems on the new dreadnoughts. Each ship took exactly 18 hours to complete from start to finish. "We've finished another 47 ships since midnight. That brings today's total to 863 vessels." Yoon Dae smiled despite his exhaustion. They were ahead of schedule. At this rate, the 500,000th ship would roll off the production line 2 weeks early. New dreadnought moved past them on the assembly line, carried by massive mechanical arms. The ship was 300 meters long and painted the dark gray color that would make it nearly invisible in deep space. Its hull was covered with weapons, torpedo tubes, energy cannon ports, and defensive systems designed to protect it from enemy fire. But the most important feature was invisible. Inside the ship's computer core was an artificial intelligence unlike anything humanity had ever built before. Dr. Nam Ki had spent 2 years developing the collective mind interface that would allow thousands of ships to fight as one coordinated force. "How are the AI tests going?" Yoon Dae asked Ko Min as they watched the ship move down the line. "Dr. Nam says the latest batch can coordinate up to 50,000 vessels simultaneously, without any lag time. The response speed is actually faster than human reflexes." Captain Song Hai walked up to join their conversation. She was the lead test pilot for the new dreadnought designs, a former fighter pilot who had volunteered to help develop the tactics that would make Earth's fleet effective against alien technology. "Engineer Yoon, I just finished testing the pack hunting protocols with a squadron of 200 ships," she reported. "The results are incredible. When the AI systems work together, they can predict enemy movements and coordinate attacks with perfect timing." She activated a holographic replay of the test battle. Miniature ships moved through the air above her tablet, showing how Earth's dreadnoughts fought differently from traditional naval vessels. "Watch this," Song Hai said. "Instead of forming battle lines like the aliens expect, our ships operate in small groups of 50 to 100 vessels. Each group has a specific role. Some ships draw enemy fire, while others circle around for flanking attacks. The AI calculates the optimal strategy in real time and adjusts as conditions change. The hologram showed enemy targets being overwhelmed by coordinated strikes from multiple directions. No single Earth ship was as powerful as an alien vessel, but together they could destroy enemies many times their size. The key is that we never fight fair, Songhai continued. Traditional space battles are like medieval knights having honor duels. Our battles will be like wolf packs hunting elk. We use teamwork, speed, and numbers to bring down prey that's individually stronger than we are. Dr. Nam Ki arrived at the assembly platform carrying a briefcase full of AI data cores. She looked as tired as everyone else, but her eyes were bright with excitement about her work. Captain Song, I have the new coordination algorithms you requested. These will allow up to 100,000 ships to operate as a single tactical unit. The processing power required is enormous, but we've solved the lag time problems. She opened the briefcase to reveal dozens of small crystalline devices that glowed with internal light. Each one contained an artificial mind capable of controlling thousands of starships simultaneously. How do they work? Ko Min asked, curious about the technology that would give Earth's fleet its advantage. Think of them like a hive mind, but with individual creativity, Dr. Nam explained. Each AI can make independent decisions about its assigned ships, but all of them share information instantly through quantum communication links. When one ship learns something about enemy tactics, every other ship in the fleet knows it immediately. Yundai looked out through the viewing windows at the vast construction projects covering the moon's surface. In the distance, he could see the massive railguns that would launch completed ships toward Earth's assembly points. Closer by, mining equipment brought in asteroids to be processed into raw materials. Dr. Nam, what happens if the aliens try to attack Earth before we finish? The fleet? We'll fight with whatever ships we have ready, she replied, but I don't think that will happen. The hegemony has been watching our construction through long-range sensors. They know we're building something, but they probably can't believe the scale of it. Captain Songhai laughed grimly. I've seen the intelligence reports. Alien scout ships keep jumping into the outer solar system and running scans, then jumping away immediately. They're counting our ships and reporting back that the numbers can't be real. What do you mean? Ko Min asked. The hegemony has never seen industrial production like this. Their most advanced species can build maybe 50 ships per month at their biggest shipyards. They're detecting 800+ ships being completed every day, and their computers keep telling them the sensors must be malfunctioning. Yunde checked his tablet again. The production statistics still seemed impossible even to him. In the past 14 months, Earth had built 387,000 dreadnoughts. Asteroid mining operations had expanded so much that the belt between Mars and Jupiter looked like a cloud of industrial activity when viewed from telescopes. Every resource humanity could gather was being turned into weapons. Iron from asteroids became ship hulls. Rare metals from the outer planets became computer cores and weapon systems. Even Earth's oceans were being mined for materials needed in the manufacturing process. The cost was enormous. Food was rationed across the planet. People lived in simple housing and wore basic clothing because all luxury production had been converted to military use. But nobody complained. Images of burning new soul played on public screens in every factory, reminding workers why they labored 18-hour shifts. Engineer Yoon, a voice called over the communication system. Admiral Han Wu is here for the inspection tour. Admiral Han Wu arrived with a group of military officers, including Captain Bei Jin and several representatives from Earth's government. They walked through the assembly areas, watching ships take shape with mechanical precision. How long until the fleet is complete? Admiral Han Wu asked. 2 weeks ahead of schedule, sir, Yunde reported. The 500,000th ship will be finished in 16 days. After that, we'll need another month to move all vessels to the staging areas and complete final system checks. Admiral Han Wu nodded, but his expression was grim. We may not have that much time. Alien scout activity has increased dramatically in the past week. Intelligence believes they're preparing some kind of response to our buildup. Captain Bei Jin looked at the ships moving through the assembly line. Admiral, are we really going to be able to fight the entire hegemony with these vessels? Captain, the hegemony has ruled the galaxy for thousands of years because they've never faced an enemy that could match their numbers. They have 200,000 ships spread across 40,000 star systems. But we're going to have 500,000 ships all in one place, all controlled by the most advanced artificial intelligence ever created. Dr. Nam Ki added, "The aliens fight like individual champions. We're going to fight like a single organism with 500,000 hands. They've never seen anything like coordinated swarm tactics on this scale." As the inspection group moved on, Yoon Dae returned to his work. There were still 113,000 ships to build, and the alien response would come soon. Earth had turned itself into one massive weapons factory, and now they would find out if human industrial capacity could overcome alien technological superiority. Outside the shipyard windows, another completed dreadnought launched toward Earth's staging areas. Soon, very soon, the hegemony would learn what happened when they murdered human civilians. They would face 500,000 ships filled with the concentrated anger of an entire species. Admiral Yang Tae stood on the bridge of the flagship Vengeance, watching 100,000 human dreadnoughts prepare for humanity's first offensive strike. The ships stretched in all directions, a metal forest floating in space near the edge of the solar system. Each vessel gleamed with fresh armor and bristled with weapons that had never been fired in anger. "Fleet status report," he called to Captain Ryu Bin, his tactical coordinator. "All ships report ready for combat operations, sir. Guardian 7 has established quantum links with every vessel in the fleet. Response time for coordinated maneuvers is 0.003 seconds. Guardian 7 was the artificial intelligence that would control the entire fleet during battle. Its computer core filled 3 decks of the flagship, processing information from 100,000 ships simultaneously. The AI's voice was calm and precise when it spoke through the ship's communication system. "Admiral Yang, I have completed analysis of hegemony defensive positions in the target sectors. Recommendation: begin with cascade warfare protocols to test enemy response patterns." Admiral Yang nodded. Earth's strategy was simple: never fight the way the enemy expected. Instead of massive fleet battles, humanity would use small groups of ships to strike quickly and disappear before reinforcements could arrive. Guardian 7, initiate Operation Thunderstrike. First wave targets are the supply depots in the Kepler, Wolf, and Gliese sectors. Acknowledged. Deploying tactical groups now. Across the fleet, ships began to move. Instead of charging toward enemy territory in one massive formation, the human vessels split into hundreds of small groups. Each group contained 50 to 100 ships and had specific targets to attack. Captain Ryu Bin watched the tactical display as groups of dreadnoughts jumped to hyperspace. "Sir, it's beautiful to watch, like watching a school of fish suddenly scatter in 100 different directions." The first attacks came without warning. Group Alpha 7 dropped out of hyperspace near a hegemony supply station in the Kepler sector. The aliens had 20 defensive ships guarding the facility, massive vessels each 3 times larger than a human dreadnought. But the human ships didn't try to match the aliens in single combat. Instead, they swarmed like angry wasps. 10 ships would draw fire from one alien vessel, while another 30 attacked it from different angles. The AI coordinated every movement, making sure no human ship was ever alone against superior firepower. "Contact from Group Alpha 7, Captain Ryu Bin reported. Mission successful. Enemy supply depot destroyed. 19 of 20 defensive ships eliminated. Human losses, 4 ships damaged, none destroyed." Similar reports came in from attacks across 3 different star systems. The aliens had been caught completely off guard. They expected traditional fleet battles with advance warnings and formal challenges. Instead, human ships appeared without announcement, destroyed their targets with overwhelming local superiority, and vanished before help could arrive. Guardian 7, analysis of enemy response patterns. "Admiral, the hegemony is attempting to reinforce all potential targets simultaneously. This is spreading their forces thin across multiple sectors. Recommendation: increase attack frequency to prevent them from concentrating their defenses." Admiral Young smiled. The AI was learning faster than any human commander could, analyzing enemy behavior and adapting tactics in real time. "Execute the recommendation. All groups increase strike frequency to maximum sustainable levels." The next phase of attacks was even more devastating. Human ships appeared at industrial facilities, communication relays, and isolated outposts throughout hegemony space. Each attack followed the same pattern: overwhelming local force, quick destruction, immediate withdrawal. Captain Han Wu commanded a special task force of 5,000 ships with a personal mission. His group jumped directly to the ruins of New Seoul, where hegemony forces had established a mining operation to strip the planet of useful materials. Target confirmed, he reported over the communication link. Hegemony garrison fleet consists of 47 vessels extracting resources from New Seoul's surface. Admiral Yang's voice came back immediately. You are authorized to use any force necessary, Admiral Han. Make them pay for what they did to your sister. Han Wu looked at the planet where Li Nari had died, where 2 million innocent people had been murdered. The alien ships were systematically destroying what remained of human cities, mining the rubble for metal and rare elements. All ships, this is Admiral Han Wu. The enemy vessels below are desecrating the graves of our people. We will show them what happens to those who harm human civilians. Attack pattern Delta 9, maximum force authorization. What followed was not a battle. It was an execution. The 5,000 human ships fell on the hegemony garrison like a hammer striking glass. The aliens never had a chance to organize a defense. Within 30 minutes, every enemy vessel was destroyed or disabled. Sir, one of his ship captains reported, we're detecting distress signals from the planet's surface. There are human survivors in underground shelters. Han Wu's heart stopped. How many? Preliminary scans show approximately 3,000 people, mostly in the old mining tunnels outside Riverside Town. They've been hiding underground for over a year. The rescue operation took 6 hours. Human soldiers found families who had survived by eating emergency rations and drinking underground water. Children who had grown up in darkness emerged blinking into the light of rescue ships. Among them was Kim Soo, one of Li Nari's former students. She saved us, the girl told Han Wu through tears. Teacher Li pushed us into the shelter when the fire came from the sky. She said you would come back for us someday. Han Wu knelt down to look into the child's eyes. She was right. We always come back for our people. The attacks continued for 6 weeks. Guardian 7 coordinated strikes against 847 different targets, one for each survivor of New Seoul's original evacuation. The artificial intelligence learned from every engagement, developing new tactics and improving coordination between ship groups. Captain Ryu Bin studied the results during a brief rest period. Admiral, the numbers are incredible. We've destroyed or captured 847 enemy vessels while losing only 23 ships. The hegemony's casualty ratio is completely unsustainable. What's the secret to our success? Admiral Yang asked. The AI, sir. Guardian 7 processes battlefield information faster than biological minds can comprehend. Every time an enemy ship fires a weapon, the data is instantly shared with every other ship in our fleet. We're learning their tactics faster than they can adapt to ours. The hegemony tried to respond with traditional fleet movements, sending large formations to intercept human attack groups. But their massive ships were too slow to catch the swift human dreadnoughts, and whenever they concentrated their forces in one area, human ships would simply attack somewhere else. Admiral, Guardian 7 reported, I am detecting increased communication traffic between hegemony command centers. Analysis suggests they are calling for reinforcements from multiple sectors. How many reinforcements? Estimate 75,000 to 100,000 additional vessels converging on this region of space. Admiral Yang looked at his tactical display. His 100,000 ships had proven they could defeat any force the aliens could send against them, but the hegemony's total fleet was still much larger than Earth's current deployment. Guardian 7 recommendation? Admiral, the enemy is making a strategic error. By concentrating their forces to respond to our attacks, they are leaving other areas vulnerable. Recommendation: continue current operations while requesting additional fleet elements from Earth. Captain Ryu Bin looked up from his station. Sir, we're receiving a priority message from Earth Command. President Kang Sora's face appeared on the main screen. Behind her, Admiral Choi Minho and Dr. Nam Ki looked grim but determined. Admiral Yang, congratulations on the success of Operation Thunderstrike. However, our intelligence indicates the hegemony is preparing a massive counterattack against Earth itself. We need you to prepare for the largest space battle in galactic history. How large, Mr. President? The remaining 400,000 ships of Earth's fleet are moving to intercept 75,000 hegemony vessels headed directly for our solar system. For the first time in galactic history, humanity will outnumber our enemies in a major battle. Admiral Yang smiled grimly. The hegemony had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years because they had always been the strongest force in any conflict, but they had never faced an enemy that could field 500,000 coordinated warships. Mr. President, the First Strike Fleet will return to Earth immediately. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity's homeworld. The 100,000 ships of the First Strike Fleet began their journey back to Earth, leaving behind a trail of destroyed hegemony outposts and liberated human survivors. The message was clear. Earth's children would never be abandoned, and those who harmed them would face overwhelming retaliation. The real war was about to begin. Admiral Choi Minho stood in Earth's war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing the movement of fleets across hundreds of star systems. The 75-year-old commander had seen many battles, but nothing had prepared him for managing a war on this scale. Red markers indicated hegemony forces, blue showed human ships, and the numbers told an incredible story. Status report from all sectors, he called to the operations team. Captain Osu stepped forward from the reconnaissance station. Her ships had been conducting deep space scouting missions, gathering intelligence on enemy movements. Sir, the hegemony appears to be in complete chaos. Our swarm tactics have disrupted their entire command structure. She activated a holographic map, showing the galaxy from humanity's perspective. Large sections that had been marked as hegemony territory were now empty space. They're abandoning entire sectors rather than face our attack groups. In the past month, they've evacuated over 200 star systems. Their ships are concentrating in heavily defended core worlds, but that means they're giving up thousands of resource-producing planets. Dr. Zhang Yun looked up from her analysis station where she had been studying captured alien technology and prisoners. As Earth's leading expert on alien biology, she had spent months learning how the hegemony species thought and fought. Admiral, I've completed my interviews with the captured hegemony officers. The results are fascinating. They literally cannot understand our tactics. She brought up recordings of interrogation sessions with alien prisoners, including a hegemony fleet commander named Kethmore, who had been captured during one of the recent battles. This commander keeps insisting that our battle reports must be falsified. According to him, it's impossible for one species to coordinate 500,000 ships simultaneously. Their largest fleet exercises involve maybe 10,000 vessels, and those require months of planning. Admiral Choi studied the alien's four-eyed face on the recording. Kethmore looked confused and frustrated as he tried to explain hegemony military doctrine to his human interrogators. What does he say about our coordination abilities? He claims we must be using some kind of collective consciousness, like a hive mind species. When I explained that our ships are controlled by artificial intelligence, he refused to believe it, or apparently no hegemony species has ever developed true AI because they consider it too dangerous. The strategic implications were enormous. The hegemony had ruled the galaxy by using superior individual ship technology and traditional fleet tactics. They had never faced an enemy that could coordinate hundreds of thousands of vessels as a single tactical unit. Dr. Zhang, what about their alliance structure? How do the different species work together? That's their biggest weakness, sir. The hegemony isn't really a unified military. It's 7 different species that each fight according to their own doctrines. The Dominion prefers massive battleships and frontal assaults. The Syndicate uses stealth and long-range strikes. The Confederacy employs swarm fighters. She brought up tactical analyses showing how different alien species had responded to human attacks. When our ships attack a mixed hegemony fleet, the different species can't coordinate their responses effectively. Each group tries to fight us using their traditional methods, but our AI adapts to all of them simultaneously. Captain Osu added her own observations from the scouting missions. Sir, we're seeing increasing evidence of internal disputes within the hegemony. Several species are questioning why they should risk their fleets to defend territories that belong to other species. Admiral Choi nodded grimly. The intelligence painted a picture of an empire that was powerful but brittle. The hegemony had maintained control through overwhelming individual superiority, but they had never developed the unity and coordination that made Earth's forces so effective. What's the status of their response to our attacks? They're pulling back to form one massive defensive fleet, Captain O reported. Current estimates suggest 75,000 ships converging on the Sol system. It's the largest military force in recorded galactic history. And our fleet status? Admiral Yang's first strike force is returning from the border sectors. Combined with our defensive fleets, we'll have 500,000 ships ready for battle. For the first time in this war, we'll actually outnumber the enemy. Dr. Jang Yun looked worried despite the favorable numbers. Admiral, there's something else from the prisoner interrogations. Kethmore mentioned that the Hegemony Council is considering what he called ultimate measures, if their conventional forces fail. What kind of ultimate measures? Planet killer weapons. According to him, the hegemony has never needed to use them because no enemy has ever threatened their core territories. But they have the capability to destroy entire worlds from long range. The room fell silent. Earth's strategy had always assumed that the aliens would fight conventional space battles. If they resorted to weapons that could destroy planets, the entire war could change overnight. How many planet killer weapons do they have? Kethmore wasn't sure, but he estimated at least 12. Each one is mounted on a massive fortress ship. That requires the combined resources of an entire star system to build. Admiral Choi studied the tactical displays with new urgency. Earth's fleet was powerful, but it was designed to fight ships, not to intercept weapons that could destroy worlds. Captain O, I need you to take your fastest reconnaissance ships and locate these fortress vessels. If the hegemony is planning to use planet killers, we need advance warning. Yes, sir. How long do we have? The main hegemony fleet will reach Earth in 6 days. Admiral Yang's forces will arrive in 4 days. We'll have 2 days to prepare for the largest space battle in history. Captain O's reconnaissance mission launched within hours. Her ships used the same hit-and-run tactics that had proven so effective, jumping into hegemony space to gather intelligence before disappearing again. What they found was disturbing. Admiral, she reported from deep space, I've located 3 of the fortress ships. They're enormous. Each one is over 50 kilometers long. But sir, they're not heading toward Earth. They're targeting our colony worlds. The strategic picture became clear immediately. The hegemony couldn't match Earth's fleet in direct combat, so they were planning to force humanity to surrender by threatening civilian targets. Which colonies are at risk? New Tokyo, New Berlin, and Kepler Station. The fortress ships will be in range to fire their planet killers in 72 hours. Admiral Choi felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders. He could keep Earth's fleet concentrated to defend the homeworld, but that would mean sacrificing millions of colonists. Or he could split his forces to protect the colonies, which would leave Earth vulnerable to the main hegemony attack. Sir, Dr. Jang Un said quietly, there's one more thing. According to Kethmore, the Hegemony Council has sent a final message to Earth's government. She activated the communication recording. The familiar face of Admiral Vextar appeared, the same alien who had ordered the destruction of New Sol. Humans of Earth, the alien said in its cold, mechanical voice, your resistance has gone beyond acceptable limits. You will surrender immediately and withdraw all forces to your home system, or we will demonstrate the futility of your defiance. You have witnessed the destruction of New Sol. That was merely a warning. Continue this war, and we will burn every human world until your species learns its proper place in the galactic order. The message ended with coordinates for 3 human colonies and a timestamp, 72 hours from transmission. Admiral Choi looked around the war room at the faces of his staff. These people had worked without rest for 2 years, building the largest fleet in galactic history. They had sacrificed everything to give humanity the strength to fight back against the aliens who had murdered 2 million innocent people. Send a message to the Hegemony Council, he said finally. Tell them that Earth's answer is the same as it was after New Sol. Tell them that threatening human civilians only makes us more determined to destroy them completely. He turned to the tactical displays showing Earth's massive fleet preparing for battle. Captain O, take 50,000 ships and intercept those fortress vessels. Captain Yang, bring the remaining 450,000 ships to Earth for the main battle. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity doesn't negotiate with murderers. The largest space battle in galactic history was about to begin, and for the first time, the hegemony would face an enemy that outnumbered them. The aliens had ruled through fear and superior technology for thousands of years. They were about to learn what happened when they threatened the children of a species that turned grief into industrial production and built 500,000 ships to carry justice to the stars.